If you are using technical jargon when you are presenting to listeners, to your team, even to executives, then you may think, oh, this is great. They're going to know how much I know about this topic. But what it's actually doing is confusing them and alienating them. And that's not what you want. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about why jargon creates such a barrier and what you want to do instead. Oftentimes, it's very hard to even notice that we're doing it because we're so used to certain vocabularies, to certain acronyms, that you need someone who's completely outside your field to act as a mirror for when you do it. It's a little bit like filler words. Sometimes we're so unconscious that they're even coming out of our mouths because we don't remember what it's like not to use them. We're filling in space, but we're not actually taking it in consciously. Now, here are three of the big things you want to consider when it comes to using jargon. Here's the first thing. Using jargon creates an alienation with your audience for this reason. If you call a meeting and you say to your team, we're going to be discussing X, Y, or Z, and as you as the technical expert, you start talking about a bunch of things and it's going way over the heads of your team, what that signals is, on the surface, it's just vocabulary, but the underlying message is you all should be understanding this. And if you don't, then what's the mismatch? Well, it indicates that, well, you're maybe just not very smart. Really, what you should be doing is explaining every term and not assuming anything. And that includes everyone in it and tells them, actually, I'm starting at a level that everybody understands. And people are more likely to engage with that because it feels far less insulting. It feels like actually, whatever level you are at in this area of technicality, I'm going to start at a place that everyone can start onto and understand. Because if people assume that your content is not for them, well, they're just not going to tune into it. Which brings me on to my second point, which is that attention is finite, okay? And this is where the reticular activating system, which is along the auditory pathway, comes in. You have a limited amount of attention for anything. We cannot pay attention to everything at the same time. In fact, there are very few things that we can pay complete attention to at any given time. And so your brain is constantly filtering, is this relevant to me or not? Now, I want you to think about the last time you went to a foreign country and you sat for a lovely coffee. Let's say you were in Japan and you had your coffee, you could read a book, get really engrossed in it, even though there were people chattering around you. Now, fast forward, and you're back in whatever country you live in, and people are speaking English around you. Two friends come and sit down, and she's telling her about her weekend, and oh my goodness, I can't believe that this is what happened, etc., etc., etc. And before you know it, whilst you love the book, you are engrossed in their conversation. Why? Because in the Japanese coffee shop, there were friends chit-chatting, but you had no idea what they were saying. So your brain immediately said, okay, this is irrelevant to me. I can dig deep into this book and get the information I want out of there. When there are people who are speaking a language that is relevant to you in that same coffee shop, your brain is saying, no, 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 you want to listen to that. You want to understand what happened last weekend. And that's something you have to overcome if you want to continue reading your book. Because your brain, even without you wanting to, notices there's something relevant and you want to pay attention to that. Now, that's exactly the effect you want to be having on your audience. That they can't help it. The information is just so interesting and they then want to tune in. That's the kind of effect you want to be having, not the Japan effect, okay? But recognize that when you use jargon, you have the Japan coffee shop effect. They're like, this is completely irrelevant to me. I can tune into my phone. Let me scroll. Not what you want. You don't want to be the foreign language. You want to be the conversation that they cannot ignore. And that happens when you ditch the jargon and you explain your terms and you're extremely intentional about letting them know this is for you. Now, the third point, because I understand that there can be some resistance to this point that I'm making, which is this. Many experts believe that if I don't use jargon, then people won't know that I'm intelligent. This is a complete myth, and I actually want to argue exactly the opposite. If you have a complex topic and all you can do is explain it in complex terms, then really all you're revealing is that you know this in the way that it was explained to you. But the person who truly shows their intelligence is one who can have all of the complex, high, lofty explanations and be able to explain it in such a way that it is simpler, it is easier to digest on the rung of the ladder that is starting off lower than them. That's the sign of intelligence because it's the indication that you can translate what you know into what someone else knows and understands. And that's what people are looking for. That's what your executives are looking for when this is not their area of expertise. And that is the skill you want to get really, really good at. Because the reality is, it's called communicating for a reason. There is a back and forth between the two. But when you use jargon, it's like not communication, it's like unication, right? There's no in there. There's no interaction between you and the audience. And I want to assure you that you don't need to prove your intelligence to anyone. Your expertise will come through as you learn to explain it to the person in front of you. If you shift your focus from how will I come across to how can this person in front of me best understand this information, then that will radically improve how much people get from it and how much of an expert they view you as a result. When you show your ability to adapt your understanding to the understanding of your audience, that is a trait of flexibility and adaptability that signals senior leadership rather than just mid manager. And so if you're interested in becoming more compelling, even when you are speaking to a lay audience or to a team that is non-technical, then sign up for the technical executive to see how you can elevate your game so that you don't lose people, so that you don't lose the room, so that you keep that authority that matches the expertise. If you are interested in that, then click on the link below. I will see you in there.